Yeah.
Patrick,
Yes, sir.
do you have any documents you left over from when you were on the board?
Well, I have whole folders full of spreadsheets and documents and.
She's out of town for.
I don't have hard copies. but
She
I
didn't
have
get
all
back
the
in touch,
working
so I was like,
documents
trying to
The
figure out.
shared services agreement. There was
No
some
instructions
exhibits
on?
to that.
For the boulevard, you mean, or for the? with
Yeah, no,
this
ordinance.
bridge association?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm looking for the exhibit A, which is the
The
street.
stormwater management,
No, it's a street, shared responsible for the streets.
I might have that. You send me an email and remind me, I'll take a look for it.
Okay, appreciate it.
Patrick, I thought you'd be out there fixing that road, you know.
Myself,
You know, I mean,
Cynthia, I will get right on that after the meeting.
you know, I want to really say to people, and this is why you send a note to the village hall, so that person can relay it to the correct person.
You know, all you gotta do is take the old one, set it in there, get some wood wedges and boom, pound them down. And, you know, with
He
lots.
drove by the day he was doing it, it's like, what is he doing?
So
We're not supposed to know that it's up on 74 there.
Oh,
they're gonna cut a steel plate that'll sit in a couple inches below the road surface, the temporary fill. Otherwise, the county wanted them to patch it with concrete. And then when the asphalt plants open, come back and tear out the concrete and put in the asphalt. Like, we're not gonna spend $8,000 to fix this thing. Just we'll wait a month till the plants are open.
well, we saw him measure it, we saw him taking the pictures.
Ready?
Nope.
It almost fast tonight. It's gonna get lost.
Pass, kick and play.
All right, good evening, everyone. I would like to call the Village of Land and Plan Commission meeting to order for Thursday, March 27th, 2025 at 6:30 PM. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Remove your headgear.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call. Grimm. Here. Newman. Here. Janice. Here. Lake is absent. Paylighter. Here. LeBold.
Here.
And Yates is present. Statement of public notice.
Has been posted.
Thank you. Yes, as Mr. Grimm pointed out tonight, I'm going to be flying solo here. Trace or Hector were not available and Ben is not available. So I will do the best I can, and thankfully we have a short agenda. Statement of, this number 5, discussion of possible approval of the Plan Commission meeting minutes from 1/29/25.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from 1/29/25 for items 1 through 7 and 11 through 13.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve all the items pertaining to the minutes for the Plan Commission only. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, citizen comments.
Village board. Mike didn't do that before, he just did like.
I imagine we're gonna, well, do those at the next village board meeting. Brenda, is that how we
Yep.
typically do that?
Okay,
Just you don't.
Yeah, they'll be on for both.
you did good for Hector.
Right? Okay, citizen comments, we have, Mr. Willard.
Jim Willard, 19953 Overstone Drive. The reason I'm talking right now is because of the item on item number 8 about the rezoning. Okay, so I'm a little concerned because it looks like there is some plans underway for a development of that property. And I understand that development is for a senior, memory care and, assisted living. Okay, so my question is, has the village, before they would rezone it, has the village looked into some time phase analysis of what it would cost to extend the infrastructure versus when we would get that money back through incremental property tax? And when we're talking incremental property tax, because it's in a TID, that incremental property tax would not be realized until 2039 when the TID closes. Unless by some miraculous intervention, the TID would close early. So we're looking at, okay, how much money is spent to add sewer and water versus when do we realize any benefit? And the high density development would cause stress on our services. We know that it would stress the fire and EMS, most likely EMS. But, you know, we know that because of the growth of our village, we're already paying $58,000 year over year more from last year for that service from Menominee Falls. So by adding more high density housing, that's gonna make it worse. So, you know, there's other factors to consider besides, you know, okay, we're at some point, we're gonna realize, you know, a benefit in property tax. Okay. The other thing is, you know, if this were approved, going from ag to institutional, why does it have to be just institutional? You know, has any thought been given to residential housing? You know, we live in a great school district. You know, I think, you know, families would love to live in this area to take advantage of our school district. Why not make it affordable single family homes? You know, why are we going to make it into a senior housing facility that really doesn't benefit the village? It's not going to add jobs to our village. I can't see that care workers are going to be coming from Lannon, Sussex, Menominee Falls, no. So, you know, you have to realize what is the short-term benefit, long-term benefit? Right now, it seems like there's a lot of thought, you know, just going into longer-term benefits. Well, 2039 is a long time away. You know, we need to think about how we're going to fund our general expenses in the interim.
Okay, thank you, Jim. So without going into a lot of detail, I will respond to that and.
Can we do that during our portion of the meeting?
Sure.
Thank you.
Any other citizen comments? Hearing none, we'll move on. Item number 7, discussion of possible action regarding the plan of operation and site plan for Lone Wolf Auto Spa at 19843 West Edgewood Drive. I don't know if the applicant was able to call in or not.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Great, thank you.
Hi, Betty.
Hey,
So Mr. Wood did prepare some comments for this. There were some changes that appear to be happening here that I think initially the applicant was looking to build a fence that is no longer being considered apparently. There was some question about the trash, and is that all going to be contained inside and then put out on trash days then?
yeah, so going back to what you said about the fence, that was not my application. That was actually the guy I rent from. He submitted that, and then the trash in the back, that's not my property either. That's the guy I rent from, so that would all have to be taken up with him.
Okay.
So you're gonna be putting the trash into his dumpster?
Yeah, any trash that we produce is already thrown away. We have trash receptacles inside that we bag and throw away after every day.
Okay. And there is a page here with some of the tenant spaces marked out on it. Are you one of these units here? There's Marker and Sons, Tenant 1, and PPG Collision Repair.
Yes, so I'm in the tenant 1 space.
All tenant one?
No, just a portion of it.
Oh.
So we're gonna need drawings of that tenant one space with the interior floor plan.
Okay, I believe that is included in there. If it's not, I can provide that.
Yeah, it's not in the packet, and that is one thing that Ben noted in his comments that we'll need. We also need, did you get a copy of Mr. Wood's comments?
I did not. Is that the gentleman that called me? Maybe a week
The
and a half.
village engineer? Mhm.
Yeah, that seems about right. Yeah, he just talked to me on the phone. He never sent me any comments.
So we can provide you with a copy of this. His concerns were, he had 3 concerns: parking lot spaces to scale and verified to reflect the actual layout. So there are some, I think, parking roughly indicated on the drawings.
Well, he is the correct.
Yeah. So we would just need to confirm those site contours demonstrating drainage. So that's probably something you're gonna have to get from the property owner. And then the interior floor plan, and that can be, it doesn't have to be an engineered drawing or anything like that, but it should include the dimensions of the space and any walls and rooms or anything like that. If you have a restroom in there and stuff, all those things should be measured out and indicated on the drawing.
Exit.
Yeah, I can get that for you guys.
Exits, yes.
Yeah, and how much of that tenant 1 space you're taking over?
I'd say like probably a third.
But show that on the drawing.
Yeah, show that on the drawing.
Okay.
So, and Ben, Mr. Wood can help you out with that if you need some assistance.
Yeah, there's also some question about the sign that you're gonna have outside. And there's some restrictions on that sign, and that's also in this document.
Okay. Yeah, we weren't really planning on putting a sign outside.
Sandwich board that he's
The
putting
sandwich
out
board?
now is legal.
I did forward you those comments, Vinnie, too, by the way.
Perfect. Thank you, Brenda.
It's the same size sandwich board in front of the gun shop or.
Yeah, the regular plastic
Yeah.
Signacade 24.
Yeah.
So right now, currently, it's located between the ditch and the road. There's a dumpster in the parking lot that's not screened. There's trash. There's a trailer laying there. I think that the owner ought to be brought here because that parking lot is gravelled. It is crushed, it's fallen apart. It's not really a parking lot anymore. And not to hold up this guy, but I think the owner of that property needs to clean up the property and get rid of all the trash and everything like that, because there's all, stuff stored there. And if we don't do it now, here's another tenant that's already operating, in the area.
So the owner is no longer intending to build a fence either?
The owner said no fence, and I believe the applicant is the guy I lease from, George. And he was the one that was gonna build a fence, but he's no longer doing that, I believe.
Who's George?
So you're subletting?
Yeah.
Who is this guy that we're talking to?
I own the Lone Wolf Auto Spa.
But he seems to be subletting from someone else.
The tenant 1 person.
Yeah, tenant 1 person.
Correct.
So what is tenant 1 person doing then?
He's using the building with the plan of operations he has filed with you, he said from 2015.
You know what that business is off the top of your head?
I do not.
That's when we had the issue with the salt storage and things. That's the same.
Yeah, that is the same one. He had the salt storage outside, but now he doesn't.
Is that who you're subleasing from?
What was that you cut out?
Doro?
Yeah, George Doro.
The DORO,
Mm-hmm.
you know him?
Yeah, and he was the one that had the construction business. I didn't know he was still there.
So I don't know that. How does this, you know how the plan of operation is, if that's gonna impact if he's subletting?
That changes that first
Yeah,
plan of operation.
Right,
This is another AFW case,
yeah.
right,
just gone into
right.
Except for this guy who's here wanting to do it, right?
Yeah, except,
except that George is.
so that's just like Mike Brandt, you know, Mike Brandt was subletting and he couldn't get the owner to come in here and update his plan of operation, which I think is what we're gonna need
Brand
down
never
here.
brought us a plan of operation either.
Because who's the owner of this whole property?
Mike Marker.
Arthur,
Yeah,
So
With the
he,
motorcycle repair shop.
Okay,
do we have a plan of operation on file for that?
Yeah,
And does he call out, do we, we probably don't know if he calls out the number of tenants and,
I know, I didn't pull that one.
okay.
Please, Mark, I would go and get my card detailed.
When are you looking to start operations? Or
as soon as possible.
Working there.
so we're working there Saturday
He
or?
was working Saturday. We talked to his.
I don't think we can approve a plan of operation till we get the primary
Yeah,
one resolved, because it's the same thing as the foundry. The property owner ends up being responsible. The tenant can just disappear.
right, so what do we wanna do with this gentleman in
Well,
the
this is-
meantime?
Does this really change what he's asking?
No. No, I don't think so. But we are, I think, going to need to get an updated plan of operation from
Mm-hmm.
You give them a temporary,
this, yeah. this-
but I will not vote for a plan of operation at this time. Maybe I might vote for a temporary
Yeah.
till something gets done, because otherwise
We got the
we'll be
parking,
sleeping and they'll be operating and nothing will ever get done.
we got the parking lot operation too, that's,
The parking lot is just bad, so,
But that'll be the building owner.
well, yeah, that, and if it's George
part of this.
trailer that's laying in the weeds there. If it's George's storage containers that's in the back corner. You know.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
stuff's all George's.
gotta be cleaned
Everything
up.
outside the building you see is his.
The dumpster's gotta be screened. And if it's not George, it'd be Mark.
Mike.
Or Mike, sorry, Mike, Mark.
Yep.
I don't have a problem with temporary either. With the,
How long do we propose allowing a temporary, give this George Doro time to get in here?
I'd say 60 days.
agreed.
Max, because George has no problem, he should be able to come in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, but I mean, for
And be on the
temporary,
next agenda, if anything worse, it'll be, the second agenda.
yeah. But 60 days for this guy to operate, because it isn't gonna get all resolved in 60 days. Hopefully it would be, but
But this guy can put pressure on, hey, you want me as your tenant, hey, you
Right.
gotta help me out now, I'm giving you money. I
Right,
don't wanna get kicked out of here in 60 days.
are you kind of understanding that, Benny?
Yeah, I'm picking up on what you guys are putting down. I'm a 60-day permit to kind of bring George and Mike in. If you guys want to do that, I'd be more than happy to have them come in with me so we can all
Now, all
talk.
you can do is give them a push.
Yeah, yeah, and I can do that.
We'll make, we'll let them know.
Yeah, for sure. I can do that.
Sounds like, we're prepared to have a motion put forth.
Yeah. Want to do it, Mike, or should I?
No?
I'm good.
Oh,
Okay,
Mercury must be in retrograde.
So regarding the site plan for plan of operation and site plan for Lone Wolf Auto Spa. I'll recommend that we have a temporary approval of the plan of operation for 60 days. With the stipulations that he gets to the town a better drawing of the parking lot spaces to scale and verify to reflect the actual layout. Some site contours demonstrating drainage, which probably come from the building owner.
yeah,
And just a sketch of the interior floor plan with dimensions and identify what's going on inside there.
and the design for the parking lot.
The parking lot spaces.
Yep.
Yeah.
We just said that the first thing, I think.
Yeah.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second to grant a temporary plan of operation pending some conditions.
60-day, I think you gotta put in there.
60 days,
Yeah.
yep, 60-day, stipulating some conditions contained within the engineer's notes and a updated plan of operation from the lessor and potentially the property owner. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Good job, Steve. Was that the first one in 5 years?
Thanks, Steve.
All right.
Big mouth, not me.
Item number 8, discussion and possible action regarding a rezoning application for LANV 0032495 located at approximately 19115 West Main Street from A1 agricultural to institutional. Again, this is a request for a conditional rezoning. We've seen a lot of, we've seen some of this before, if you'll recall last fall. I think some additional due diligence has been getting done by the applicant. I don't know that anything has substantively changed since then. But I see you brought some exhibits in the event that you want to put those up. And David, do you want to discuss anything additional that you feel is important for us to know or understand?
Well, Ken from Danforth Construction and Architecture is going to show you this and kind of give you a brief overview of where we're at.
Okay.
And what we're requesting today.
Yeah.
I believe this is in your packet.
Yep.
It's basically a site plan with a 56 unit, 1-story community-based residential facility, which is 20 memory care units and 36 assisted living type units. Parking in the front, dumpster, small storage garage. It's basically what you saw in your packet. There's some additional elevation, just to give you an idea of what it looks like, but as I understand it today is for seeking rezone for the public hearing next month. So just some basic information, and I had touched base with Ben as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a few comments. First off, these developments only became really along through TID districts and stuff like that. That's how we got Overstone built. That's how the Solomon project got built. Without those will still be all empty fields. The other thing is, that's Menominee Falls School District, not Hamilton.
Yeah.
That's Menominee Falls. And that's a good school district too. but I didn't go to that one. I went to Hamilton. Well, my parents lived on the other side of the street. I would be saying, well, that's my fault. But this has been on the works. I would say we've been looking at this type of idea since 1990.
Yeah, and in 2006 and 7, we had 3 different entities wanting to build an assisted living down there.
Because of the required, because it is close to the hospital.
Yep,
And the fire department is now down in that area.
across the street.
Yeah, so the run is a lot easier. It's a staffed fire department, whereas when Landon had their fire department here in the hall, it was volunteer. And we couldn't get volunteers to staff it anymore. You should know that. You've been living there 30 years. So, you know, since the 90s, we've always been looking at this, and I think we've been laid it all out. The part of when you build out a TID district, you have to have X amount, X amount, X amount, and this fills that other X amount that is left in that available, you know, business wise. And that's what this would be.
Yeah, this was from the Vanderwall study
Yeah.
that we did in 2014 when we redid our comprehensive land use plan.
And as big as that property looks, only 9 acres, or 9.8 acres is actually buildable, right?
A lot of wetlands.
Got a lot of wetland and,
Conservancy.
yeah, conservancy, yeah.
Yeah, so to address some of your concerns, Mr. Willard, anytime a proposal like this comes forward, there is a lot of work and due diligence that goes into the consideration of this type of project. You know, as has been pointed out already, this has kind of been what we anticipated going here for a long time, so I won't go on about that anymore. From a TID standpoint, any type of incentive that's asked of the developer all gets pro forma'd by Ellers. It all gets factored in cash flowed based on the projected value of the project to determine whether or not it's a reasonable request and whether the board wants to consider that option. So it does all get financially vetted from that standpoint so that we're making sure that whatever incremental value is brought to the village is going to cover and then allot any additional costs that the village might incur for whatever that might be, whether it's a, you know, a utility incentive or an occupancy incentive or a shared tax incentive. I mean, there's a lot of, each development agreement is negotiated independently. This would all be contingent on a number of things. This rezoning would be a conditional rezoning. And I believe you understand that, correct? Okay, so really everything has to kind of fall in place first, development agreements. Let's see where Ben laid all these
Then the
out.
last
So I
step,
wanna-
basically.
I want to make sure I get all these. So we need to have, yeah, developer agreement, engineering plans, plan of operation, conditional use permits, ownership of the land. All of those types of things have to fall into place in a certain order before any of this really gets formally rezoned. And by that time, it's all been, considered at length, and you very well might be part of those discussions, depending on how the election turns out here. So,
But even with those conditions, as Ben says here, though, those conditions are not necessary for the application to proceed to the public hearing.
right. Yeah.
So,
We can make a recommendation to, you know, schedule the public hearing, probably for the May, planning commission meeting, which is May 12th.
not the plan.
Or village board, excuse me. village board meeting, excuse me.
Like Van said, April 23rd or 24th.
I think it has to be
That would
published,
be,
right?
that would be the next
Yeah.
planning commission meeting.
Notice for a public hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a notice requirement. I mean, the 24th would be, if the plan commission could set the date, but it has to go to the village board to set the date.
Yeah.
So that pushes it back just a week or so.
So I make a motion that we send this I make a motion that we recommend to the village board to set a public hearing for the application for LANV 0032.495 located at approximately 19115 West Main Street from A1 Agriculture to I Institution.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second, and that was to recommend.
To the village board to
to the
set a
village
public
board.
hearing.
Okay, yeah, great, thank you.
Discussion?
Yep, any other discussion?
I did have one note from when they initially came up to us about asking if that sewer and water fund could be upfront. And just so you know, these are things that we bring up too, to see where we can take discussions with people when they come up to us. So we ask questions like that.
Yeah, and so a couple other additional points of clarification. Our fire contract, you know, if they're here every day for an EMS call, it doesn't change our cost.
No.
Our cost is the same. It's a negotiated rate based on area and population. 52, 56 residents in beds is not gonna move the needle in that regard. So, so we shouldn't, while it's a valid concern, there shouldn't be any impact to our cost for fire and EMS. From a TID perspective, this is estimated to be roughly a $7 million project at final build out. Is that correct? Still accurate?
7 or 8, yeah.
7 or 8 million. So that's gonna bring some substantial revenue to the levy. As you pointed out, when the TID does close, and it'll provide some significant revenue to the TID fund, and until that time. Let's see, what other items did you bring up that I may not have addressed?
I have some, not bearing on this. I'd like to compliment you on the presentation of the materials here. That was pretty professional and nice. Also, I noticed, with listing the neighbors, Sunnyside Cemetery, I don't think we're gonna have any complaints from the residents there, but that was a nice touch.
You never
Do you have
know.
to notice each one of those individually though, for if they wanna come?
I don't know, but I don't think they're gonna say anything.
We can just trust.
Check with Amy.
But I do have a
Kind of
condominium
mailer
there,
for
so
the
I'm
public
kind of
hearing.
concerned about that place. And just from a engineering standpoint, are you planning on raising the grade somewhat in there because of that low area? And many
No.
years ago, we had quite a bit of flooding in that area.
Yeah, there'll have to be some grading.
Yeah, okay,
Just to get
good.
it flattened out.
Well, and then you can, that'll help you with your stormwater management a little bit too.
Oh, yeah,
Take
it's-
advantage of that.
It definitely. And I was wondering if a person could reserve any units because I see unit 10 looks out on Main Street and looks over at Sunnyside Cemetery, so.
That's too close for me.
We'll
And,
need a substantial deposit, but, yeah, you can be first on the list.
okay. I don't know how soon I'll need it, but I want to get there before Mike takes it.
Well, I wanna get one close to Daniel, so I have to wheel my wheelchair.
So speaking of substantial deposits, do we have a services agreement in place?
Yes, we do.
Yes, and a check.
And a check, even
Even
better.
better.
I just have one question. I overlooked the floor plan and I don't see any, I only see one small office. And I don't see any like break room for the employees or you're gonna have 18 employees there during your first shift. So where are those employees gonna, I don't think not even half of them can fit in that small office. So where are they gonna be?
We can address that at public hearing when the operators here.
Yeah, that's a good question, but
That's
it's
okay.
more operational and these plans are far from.
I understand,
Right.
I understand, but I just wanna make sure that,
You can-
because that could affect the number of units that,
It's not going to, the same building this operator's built multiple times.
Okay.
You'd be better able to answer how it's specifically operated.
okay,
And if I recall correctly, I think you did provide some information. For some of the similar facilities in the area, I think up in the Fox, or. Up by
Oshkosh, was it
Appleton,
Oshkosh?
right?
Where's the Fox Crossing?
Appleton, Oshkosh area, right?
Harrison, correct.
And you just asked that we. Notice you or coordinate with you to go see those facilities.
And the room number is also based on staffing. Because you put a big complex in there, you can't staff it.
Right.
And they've got the experience in that, and that's why the room count and how it is so it can be realistically staffed.
Mhm.
I noticed the dumpsters right in the front. You have that fenced or something?
It's screened, it's stone, there's a picture, I think, in our
Okay,
last
but
sheet.
it's
Yep.
the signage.
It's actually, the signage is the dumpster. You can look at the picture of the signage.
Yeah, I see that. But
That's because the parking lot's there, that's where trash trucks gonna get in. There's really not a good spot to hide it on side in the site. But again, we're just seeking rezoning right now, these are all
Yeah,
further development.
and the garage is for grass cutting and that kind of snow.
Correct.
So,
Okay,
so this where it says care partners, that's the outward facing wall of the dumpster enclosure, correct?
Yeah, it's gonna face the road.
So you see this from the window.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's one of the dumpsters behind there.
Okay, any other discussion, any questions for the applicant? Jim, did I address your item? Did I think I got them all right?
I believe so. Not saying I agree, but you addressed it.
But he's also can,
Fair enough.
at the public hearing.
Yep.
Comment
Yep,
again.
there'll be other opportunities.
Please comment, and then with
Discuss further.
board meetings and the plan commission meeting, comments too.
So when is the public hearing for this
We
again?
won't know until what.
The village board will set the
Okay.
hearing date.
They gotta set a date and they gotta
That's it.
publish it first.
Yeah, so we have any other discussion on this? Recommendation, okay, recommendation's been made, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I do want to bring up one more thing before somebody rushes to make a motion to adjourn.
I told them not to.
I am considering, I had considered moving planning commission meetings to Wednesday, last Wednesday of the month. I know Ms. LeBold has a conflict, potential conflict with that. Do any other commissioners have specific conflicts with last Wednesdays of the month?
Wednesday's better for me. than Thursday.
I do in the winter time. It'll be hit or miss, but that's just ski season.
No.
We discussed you already.
I have to check my retirement schedule.
Okay,
Pretty well booked.
Funny.
when you get a chance to check with your administrative assistant on
She's
that,
sitting right here.
let me know. Okay, all right, well,
What? That's what you're saying. Hello.
I will look at another possible option, maybe the third Wednesday.
It's too close to the village board then too.
It gets pretty close, yeah, it does.
That's
really make it
Thursday.
Okay.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn, do we have a second?
Second,
Motion and a second, any discussion on adjournment? All in favor?
aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries for adjournment.
So I have a couple of questions. I'm trying to read. As I find my way.
Always better.
Staff meetings, I did it.